If you felt stuck trying to lose weight, you're not alone. Enter Weight Loss by Hers. It's designed to support you in reaching your goals. And Hers now offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill and the Wegovy pen. With Wegovy at Hers, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite, eat less, and keep weight off. Plus, Wegovy is the first GLP-1 available in a pill, so there are no needles needed. Everything is 100% online through Hers. You'll connect with a licensed provider who will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. And it doesn't stop there. Weight Loss by Hers goes beyond medication by offering access to 24/7 messaging with your care team and tons of in-app lifestyle and nutrition tips like recipes, meal plans, fitness videos, sleep content, and more. Even better, with a range of affordable GLP-1 options, Hers makes it simple to find an approach that fits your needs and your budget if eligible. You'll get a treatment plan personalized to you and unlimited dosage changes as needed. It's weight loss designed to work with your life. Ready to reach your goals? Visit forhers.com/women to get personalized, affordable care that gets you. That's forhers.com/women. forhers.com/women. Weight Loss by Hers is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk A/S. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit forhers.com.
Robots Radio. Games, lore, stories, community. Just press play. Hey friends and adventurers, this is Tom, or Robots, at the beginning of the show before we actually get into it. And I just wanted to put this out there at the beginning. Big thank you to Lotus of Doom for heading up this episode for me. When we were recording this, when we went live, I was actually coming down with a serious migraine and had to step away. So I was able to pop in and kind of say hi to the patrons, but I wasn't able to stay for the episode. So I feel bad, but I didn't want to have to change the date on anyone because everybody was ready to go with the live episodes. So you know, I went ahead and let them talk. They have a wonderful conversation, and Lotus did a great job of adjusting and running the show for me. So thank you so much, Lotus, and thank you for the patrons for being flexible and understanding. Sometimes these things come up and there's not a whole lot I can do about it, but I look forward to talking with you guys again next month, and look forward to being back to, you know, a regular episode next week with Lotus. So enjoy the episode, and I will see you guys next time. This show is brought to you by our patrons at patreon.com/Elder Scrolls Lorecast.
Robots Radio presents The Elder Scrolls Lorecast.
Welcome to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, a place where the Elder Scrolls community can come together to discuss the boundaries of our knowledge about the universe of the Elder Scrolls.
Welcome, everybody, to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. I have seized control, and now we are all at my whim. I am Lotus of Doom, filling in for Tom this evening on our Patreon episode, as Tom is a little under the weather. So we're going to just chat kind of without him this time. Hopefully he feels better for, you know, the next show. But in the meantime, since it conveniently falls on a week where there's a whole bunch of us here, we can kind of just do a show and not have to skip. So with us so far, and we may actually have a few more people joining depending upon everybody's schedules. So I guess I'll just go based on my camera direction. Starting with Kung Fu Kangaroo. How are you? And how are things?
I'm doing great. I'm not sure if regular listeners of this show have heard, but we've started a Mass Effect Lorecast. Tom and I are putting that together. It's been a blast. I've been streaming a new playthrough of Mass Effect, and I'm looking for a new job in Portland, Oregon. So I got a lot going on.
Exciting stuff. And then to my side, we have, is it Siberia? I actually have not gotten to meet and chat with you yet. So introduce yourself to everybody and me.
Yeah, so I'm 19 and I actually live in Sweden.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so the clock is like, it's 2:00 at night.
Oh my God. Okay, so you're...
Yeah, that was why I missed last month's episode, because I just fell asleep.
I totally understand that. So from the other show that I'm part of with Tales of Tamriel, our lead host, Arkanir, is in Turkey, and he's 8 hours ahead. So he stays up to all sorts of ungodly times so that we can record late for us and early for him, because it's like the only midpoint we have where it's like, well, 8 hours of difference, like that's an entire sleep schedule, like essentially. So we usually try to start at 11 p.m. so that like a 2 or 3 hour show, it's like, okay, I'm up late and it's like 8 in the morning for him. So he's like just waking up. So appreciate you being here. That is time zones are rough.
Yeah, thankfully I have the day off tomorrow, so I can sleep in a bit.
Well, that's pretty sweet at least. And I'm actually not sure your videos are all right. Sea Chaser, how are you? Welcome back.
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm very well. This will be an interesting experience, as usually when I run these things, it's a little more in a method that I'm used to. So this is a learning experience here for me. All right. So what we will do is the chat we're going to go with tonight is, let's see, how are we going to do this? Oh, perfect. And actually, Tom put that in chat for podcast. I was going to try to do that for you while I was going to throw a question at you, and he's already got it. You're supposed to be resting, Tom. So anyways, let us start our discussion this evening with your experience in previous Elder Scrolls games, kind of discussing that it was a little bit different from all of our perspectives. So it mostly, I'm going to assume, be previous experiences, but you can also do something you're playing now. Any reference points to the different games you have, it doesn't really matter specifically, which ones they are or how much experience you have with them, but it's like kind of just which games got you into the series and which ones, I've got a couple situations where I'm not the biggest fan of some of them. Even though it's my favorite series, I've recently become aware that a couple of them back in the day were pretty rough. So for the sake of ease on my part, why don't we just continue this in like my directional sense? So Kung Fu, I have a background in shared experience of Morrowind, but give us your background to start with, at least.
Yeah, so like you, Morrowind was the first Elder Scrolls game that I played, and I played it on the original Xbox. Mm-hmm. And that game, I was like so into it because it was a classic RPG. And then there were these game-breaking exploits, which existed even on the original Xbox, and I poured a lot of time into that. However, I think the game that I played the most out of the entire Elder Scrolls series is probably Oblivion. I played Oblivion to hell and back, across all characters and platforms, probably close to 1,000 hours.
Good Lord. Okay.
Yeah, a lot. Played a lot. There was a lot to do. And I was in 7th grade, 8th grade when that came out. So, didn't really have a lot going on besides sports and school.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, was Oblivion 2006?
It was.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah, so 2006. So all right. So being that I've got a few years on you, I remember I was super excited when I first saw Oblivion, just because I was like, oh my God, there is a fourth one coming. And I just remember first looking at that game. The graphics are insane. Well, were insane for the time.
Yeah, I remember looking at the grassy knolls and thinking, oh my God, this game is beautiful. And now I look back at it like, what the hell am I looking at?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of light bloom in it. There's so much light bloom with the sunspots.
Heavy sat.
Yeah.
Heavy
So very much so. To be fair, though, even one thing that's very heavily remembered from Oblivion is the potato faces. It's probably like one of the biggest things that is remembered. But at the same time, one of the things I loved about that game's art style and direction was the fact that even though a lot of it is definitely dated and whatnot, it still has a different feel to it than some of the other games because it looks very similar to a watercolor painting, in my opinion, which is ironic because there's a watercolor painting quest in the game that involves like troll fat and stuff. But like then they really make it look like a watercolor painting. But just it has like a very soft feel to the art style of the game, which I don't find any of the other games have ever done again. It's kind of unique to.
No, in fact, Skyrim is almost the opposite. Skyrim is very jagged, very jagged. And
hard,
very,
dirty.
like I don't want to say monotone, but what's the opposite of?
It's got a hard grayscale to it by comparison. Yeah. Like, yep. Interesting. I did not realize that even though we're Morrowind OG Xbox buddies, that Oblivion was probably the one that you've played the most. That's very interesting to hear.
I actually didn't know that until I looked on my Steam and then I looked on Xbox today and I compared the stats. So I would have guessed that Morrowind would have been the most, but shockingly, it's not.
Interesting. Siberia, how about you? What's your background with the series and where have you played through and what do you prefer / not as an overview to start at least?
Well, the first game I ever played was Skyrim. I got it as a Christmas present from my grandma when I was about 13. So okay. I'm born in 2001, so I'm only 1 year older than Morrowind itself.
That's amazing.
But yeah, so Skyrim is probably the game that I play the most. I mean, I played it for about 8 years now. Never really stopped playing it.
Yep.
And then about 2 years, after 2 years of playing Skyrim, I figured out, oh wait, there are more games in this series. So I tried out Oblivion, and I played that for about 2 years straight. And then just recently, I think in the last 2 weeks, I've been playing Morrowind. So I've been playing that for 2 weeks straight now. But I think the game that I've enjoyed the most is probably Skyrim, just because it was the first game in the series that I ever played.
Nice.
But I think Morrowind is up against it now. I mean, I've been having so much fun playing through it. Before I've only watched, I watched a lot of YouTube videos on Morrowind, and I always wanted to play it, but I never really got around to it. But I recently got the new Xbox, so I decided to play it on Game Pass.
I was going to say, did you get the Game Pass? That is such a great feature that they added all of those to Game Pass.
Yeah. It's really great.
So question for you then from that regard is, since you've actually kind of, you started it, I made a joke before the show that like most people onboarded the series with Skyrim. That was kind of the one that brought it from like, this series is popular to, it's nothing but memes and literally everybody knows what this game is pretty much. So question, going back each time as you've started with Skyrim, then went back to Oblivion and now have gone back again to Morrowind, you're playing in like reverse order. Is that tricky? Have you had any issues with that? Because I only have the situation. I mean, when you look in the grand scheme of things, I started with 3 and I've gone forward and now I've gone way backwards. And it's definitely, I didn't think much of it going forward, but now rewinding farther back past where I started, it's been a little jarring. So what's your experience with that?
Yeah, that has definitely been difficult, especially with Morrowind. I mean, I have had to use the wiki a lot of times. But it didn't really take too long. I mean, it's not really that big of a difference. it it was kind of difficult, but I got over it pretty quickly.
Okay, interesting. I was curious if that was going to be real rough to go back to, or if it's just kind of a learning curve thing. I've definitely found it to be a learning curve thing, but it's not insurmountable, especially if you have interest in the series anyways. I mean, I guess if you just casually jump in, it would be like, okay, what is happening? Why don't I have quest markers? And how did I just doom the prophecy, constantly? But when you actually want to learn it, I could definitely see that being the case. Specifically combat, I would imagine, is probably the hardest thing. What with getting started in Morrowind, you could eventually become, godly tier power, but when you can't hit a scrib directly in front of you, it's pretty rough.
Yeah. I mean, the games have gotten a bit streamlined, so
for sure.
It's definitely rough, but I can definitely see that it's harder going back to like Arena or Daggerfall than going back to Morrowind from Skyrim.
Yeah, each one, with a couple exceptions, becomes noteworthily more challenging than some of the other ones. But Morrowind, I still feel, is kind of the shift point in the series where it's, even though it's still dated, it started to, you could feel the new direction of the series, where everything prior to Morrowind had a different feel to it that kind of all coincided with themselves, but it was, the framework was there, but it definitely isn't what it is today. So no, that totally makes sense to me. I hear you. All right. On that note, Sea Chaser, where did you jump on? I know you're a Skyrim guy as well, but
yeah. So technically, I started with Blades.
Okay.
That was a mobile game.
All right.
I had friends back in like 5th grade who were playing Skyrim. They would tell me about it, but I never really got into it.
Any jokes and such, I assume.
And then I got the Switch, which was the only console I have. So I got Skyrim on that with all the DLC.
Interesting. Okay, so Skyrim on Switch is how you also jumped into the series as well. So it's...
Yeah.
All right. That's going to bring me to a different thing. Good. I'm glad everything... And so far, everybody's story is like something that I'm interested in personally here. So I know you don't have mods on the Switch, correct? It's
correct.
Okay, that's fine. I don't play with mods, so even though I have access to them. So that's... I always like when people at least play through the vanilla version to start with. My question to you is, does it have all the DLC included as well, or is it
Yeah, it has all 3 DLC.
Okay, so it's like the definitive version or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
my question then to you is, when you jumped into this, you're obviously going to have access to like all the patches that kind of even things out and everything like that. Visually, I assume it looks pretty good because it'll be one of the newer versions. And I know the Switch isn't like super, super powerful, but how are like the load times and stuff like that on a Switch?
It depends on what's being loaded to.
Okay.
So like if I have the game shut off, I turn it on, it's like maybe a minute load, and then I press A to continue, and then that part there can be a little bit long. So like I'd say like I guess most loading screens are a little long.
Okay, interesting.
Like maybe 30 to 45 seconds.
All right, so it sounds like that's almost like mimicking the Xbox well, not the PlayStation 3 experience originally, because that was a mess.
It's not long enough for me to complain or anything. Like it's not. It's always like the big loads. So like if I was going into a cave or whatever, that's not a long load.
Okay.
Going into the houses, going into one of my 6 houses, that's not a long load.
All right. Now
I've been playing the same orc for 2 years. I got it like 2 years ago, and I've been playing the same character since. So.
Okay, see, all right, that's how I do things. I don't like playing with tons and tons of alts. I try to do like every single thing on my one character, where some people, they get so far and then they restart. I can't do that.
I've got my orc main, and then I do have a secondary one who's a female Nord vampire.
Okay.
That I don't do as often. I've been coming back to the York. So
Interesting. All right. So that's now, I guess my other question would be, since your two experiences in the series are Blades and Skyrim, were there any parallels? Like, so if you started with Blades, I played Blades when it came out, and I was like in the beta and all of that stuff.
I was in beta too. Yeah.
Okay,
I never really got very far. So I'll give you.
Okay.
I'll tell you that now.
All right, fair enough. I was just curious, actually, just maybe like from, I guess, an overview or aesthetic standpoint, since that was kind of where you jumped in. Was there anything that helped with that when you went to Skyrim mattered, or did it seem like kind of just like a devoid, like, oh yeah, it's the same world, I guess, or whatever?
So it was quite a bit of time between Blades and Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally like the combat a lot more in Skyrim.
For sure. So
I can just hack my way through.
Yeah.
Instead of the weird timed attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since I'd only played like mobile games before, Skyrim was my first game on the Switch, and so like it's like, oh, I can walk off the paths. This is so cool.
Yeah, everything's very on rails and Blades. I mean, it's confined to what it is. So
you got your path, and you don't really go off the path.
You go from A to B to C, and then you get a complete or you died. Like, those are your options. Interesting. All right. Yeah, I just wasn't too sure, because that's actually a really unique one to have jumped onto the series because of. So
yeah, starting with Blades, I didn't know anything about the world at all. Mm-hmm. And so like, oh, there's an empire. Cool. I don't know if they're good or evil or what their general That's
kind of why I was interested in that, because like going to Blades and already having a background in the series, that's fine. Like, because you'd kind of know these things, but like starting with Blades, I'm like, wait, they didn't explain anything in Blades. Like, why are you even beating up a Thalmor agent in the beginning of the game? Like, I
didn't know what that was. It was just some guy they had me. All right, I'll beat him up. That sounds fine.
That's okay. Cool. That's exactly what I was curious on, because it's like, without a background of the Thalmor, why would you know that you're murdering this person to begin with? So that is a very different perspective than I was expecting.
I can't even remember that basic story that they had for Blades to begin with. So
it's pretty generic. So awesome, interesting, and we will switch over. We had a new addition while we were doing this. Brib, welcome. Why don't you can introduce yourself and just jump straight into yours. So
hey, I'm Birdwayne. I'm another T4 patron or a tier 4 patron, but I started with Oblivion, but the reason why I brought up this idea in patron chat is because I've been trying to catch up on the episodes, so I like just busted out the last 3 that you and Tom have done. Mm-hmm. And I remember also nice scarf, by the way. Is that from? Did you get that from the loot crate?
It is from, actually both of these are from the loot crate. Anybody on the video, the back of my chair is decked out in the scarves from the Elder Scrolls loot crates.
Do you wear your Dragonborn stocking hat at all?
I've been trying to get my dog to wear it, actually. She goes around with it because she thinks she likes actually dressing up, which is weird. This is a super tangent, but it becomes an Elder Scrolls thing when I bring up there's this little like hat that you get that looks like the Dragonborn helmet, and my dog enjoys, I assume it's just she likes getting attention, and I've been like trying to balance it on her head, but she's really small, so it kind of just flops off, and then she just plays with it because she thinks it's a toy. But I want to get like a picture of her actually wearing it.
Yeah, I wanted to wear it in public, and my wife is like, I will not be seen with you wearing it in public. Because it's a stocking hat, but it has eye holes cut out. And it's, So anyway, so I started with Oblivion, but I used to play a bunch of Might and Magic, and as I've watched you stream Arena, I'm like, man, this looks exactly like Might and Magic. So it's made me want to, even though I started in Oblivion, it's made me really want to go back and play Daggerfall and Arena. But then I'm also very scared. I actually have it on my list of things to do to download Daggerfall. But also hearing you talk about it makes me very scared about what I'm getting into. But
it's one of the things that that I can definitely recommend, because I do think if you have the interest in it, especially because Daggerfall and Arena are free. Here's a weird plug for anybody. It is actually Arena's 27th birthday today. Official. Yeah, I was going to say Bethesda was tweeting that out earlier. So happy 27 years, Arena. It's been rough and Age hadn't treated you well, but you gave us what we got now. So that's awesome. Daggerfall and Arena are free pretty much anywhere. They should never be. It's freeware. Universally. So as long as you can find a version, I know that's on Good Old Games or GOG now.
Bethesda has a Daggerfall launcher on their website.
I was going to say, and you can get the Daggerfall launchers as well. Those are a little, so they're not bad, but that was how I started trying to get them prepped to stream, and I actually couldn't do it properly solely because it's the original DOS files. So playing them on new computers, you run it through a DOS box to get it to run. A weird situation I ran into was my computer would run the game so fast. I believe it defaulted at like 16,000 frames a second. So I literally couldn't move. Like if I touched anything, the game would like freak out. I'd like fly across the world and die. So the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages helped me out and sent me a link. And they have downloaders on their site as well that I would recommend.
Gotcha.
Yep. So, I mean, no matter where you find it, depending on how much you like tinkering around, you can definitely get them to work. You just got to expect them to not work right out of the box. It takes a little fine tuning. It certainly did with me, because at first I was like, what have I done? Like, I think I broke everything. And once I got a couple people a little more tech savvy than myself help me out with it and forcibly slow them down, they work really like much, much better. So if you can get a pre-configured launcher, like from unofficial Elder Scrolls pages or GOG, they do the heavy legwork for you. And the version you get has already been like tuned to work on modern systems without like flying off the rails.
Yes. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. So it's pretty standard entry story into the series, but I've really been. I mean, I've always had the tug to go back and play Elder Scrolls Online, just because I feel like there's so much to do. And now with the festivals, whenever's events, I feel like I need to play. But I've been wanting to go back. I actually started a new character in Oblivion, knowing that Oblivion was being launched, or Oblivion was being launched in ESO, and then I've been wanting to do Skyrim playthrough again because of Skyrim last year. Now listening to this podcast, I also want to get back and play Daggerfall.
So, all right, that's interesting. Wow, everybody's got pretty much different jump on points. Even though a lot of us have similar jump on points, they're like very different the way. So mine is just pretty straightforward. I much like Kung Fu, I actually had never heard of the series. I didn't really have any clue what it was anyways. And I used to go over and play Halo at my buddy's house after school. And we went over and I had beaten a bunch of the games that he had on his Xbox while we were all hanging out. And one of the games he had was that weird brown box with just the Daedric symbols on the front and the tribunal thing. And I was just like, what is a Morrowind? And he was like, oh, it's this game I picked up. And he's like, I don't think this is really your thing, man. It's pretty complicated. Like, cause my go-to was Madden and Halo and Call of Duty and stuff like that. But I decided to pick it up and I tried it. And at first I was like, oh, it's in first person, like thinking I was going to be like shooting people. And I was like, oh, nope. Okay. I got a sword and I can't hit anything. This is awkward. And I don't really know why I kept with it at first, other than the fact that I was really confused as to what was going on. But basically, I ended up getting super into the series because I kept going over his house day after school, which we did a lot anyways. We'd just all go over there. But while we were hanging out, I kept basically shoving everybody off the Xbox. I was like, nah, I got this. And I would just sit there and I would play Morrowind until we would find something else to do. And I got to level 66 in Morrowind on his Xbox, which for anybody who's played Morrowind knows how long that would take. At which point I was told to get my own Xbox and stop hogging his. So I went and bought an original Xbox, a copy of Halo, and Morrowind. Those were the only things I bought, just because I wanted to play all over again. And there was no way to really file transfer. You had those like memory block things, and I don't even remember what a block was for a unit of measurement on an Xbox, but I couldn't figure out how to transfer the file even, so I had to restart. And when I restarted, I had like the background of me screwing everything up over his house, and instead I got like super into it, and that was pretty much my go-to game until Oblivion came out. And then that was number 4, so I was like, I can't wait to see the new one. And that's where I kind of got hooked on the series. Once there were 2 of them that I liked, I was like, these are amazing. So from that point on, I was just kind of hooked. And recently I've been chugging through some of the old ones. We had mentioned Arena. Battlespire I do not recommend. It's rough. It's also very different. Same thing with Redguard. Don't recommend it unless you like the old Tomb Raider games on like the original PlayStation. Then you might like it, because it's much more that than an open world game. But yeah, so the series as a whole became like my thing after a while, but it definitely jumped on from there. So my next, I guess my discussion topic, other than just like where our background is, are there parts of any of them that how can I explain this best? Okay, I'll give you an example. Is there anything about any of the games that you've played, doesn't matter which, that you've got your favorite of the series, you've got your first of the series? Is there anything that wouldn't qualify as necessarily being like your favorite game or whatever that you wish you could have like from one of the other games? This could kind of lean more into like, well, obviously I wish the combat in Morrowind didn't suck. Like, okay, so I would rather it from one of the new games. My example of this is, although Morrowind's my favorite, hands down out of the entire series of every game I've played, the Oblivion soundtrack is by far my absolute favorite. I love most of the soundtracks through and through, but that one just, there's like no tracks that are skippable in that. So to me, even though Oblivion isn't my favorite, I absolutely wish that like that's one of the things from a game that I would not consider my favorite. I actually don't even have Oblivion that high on my list of them played. I like it, but like that soundtrack to me is unparalleled to the rest of them. So would anybody else have anything that like, it's not necessarily your favorite, but it's something that really, really sticks out from one of the games that you love or whatever?
Following is a public service announcement from the Starter Set Dungeons & Dragons podcast. This is your D&D campaign. This is the Starter Set podcast. You know how like poison frogs don't lick each other's backs?
So it's Howl's Moving Castle with a face.
Hey there, I'm Great Mandibles.
Because one of the party speaks Abyssal. You're all going to die.
And then adventure falls into your lap. Plop.
This is your D&D campaign after listening to the Starter Set podcast. So join Sam and Ed every Friday on the Starter Set podcast for prime Dungeons & Dragons content. Any questions?
Can I
Absolutely, go for it, DJ.
I'm in a free spot right now, but
yeah, no, go for it.
I haven't played any of the other games, but I've had friends who played them. But about like how Skyrim, they got rid of the unarmed skill tree.
Yeah.
I would like that in like Skyrim.
Okay. That
and like
that totally works. That's actually pretty major in some of the games.
And like the spell creation from
Oblivion, Morrowind, either of those have like really in-depth spell creation.
Like, my friends would tell me about spells that you could combine together to unlock all the chests in a building.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's a perfect example of what I was talking about.
So, yeah, like the stuff that they didn't get into Skyrim.
Yeah. Which, that's actually a really good example of like the series not necessarily progressing in a way that's like, oh, you always think bigger and better the way things go along. But actually, in terms of what you said with the spellcrafting specifically, the game has actually become much, much more restrictive when it comes to spellcrafting compared to how open-ended it used to be. Because it used to be off the rails where you could just like do whatever you wanted, to the point of completely breaking the game like 5 minutes into the game if you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, I just want to make a god.
Yep. That's always my end goal, so I totally hear that.
Just make something absolutely mad.
Yeah, I have one that's actually Morrowind related as well, and I think you'll be able to identify with this. If you could take the loot system of Skyrim and the loot system of Morrowind and put it in Skyrim. I think it would be a much better game. And I say that because anyone who's played Morrowind knows that Morrowind was a game that made you paranoid about not checking behind the stairs. Check behind the stairs. Check behind every rock, because you never know when there could be a unique legendary item that just, make your character a god. And
ring in a tree stump or something.
Yeah, in a tree stump. Fargoth's ring. And so there was so many like places that you might think, okay, that's just a static decoration. It is not. It is contained something. And there were so many unique items, it felt like, and maybe this is just my memory coloring things differently than they happened, but there were so many items that were written into Morrowind that it felt like there were more unique items in Morrowind than there were in Skyrim and Oblivion to some extent. It felt like the reward for just picking a direction and walking and exploring and seeing what you could find was more rewarding in Morrowind. It was rewarding in Oblivion, but then with Skyrim, I don't know what happened. It just kind of felt like, meh.
Yeah, I will agree with that, because it definitely does. And I mean, it's some of the, I guess Skyrim is still very, very world crafted as something that's changed in the series, where it was originally much, much more procedurally generated. Hence, for the longest time, Daggerfall was the biggest game. And it's like, well, yeah, right. But they didn't actually, they made an engine that kept just expanding. And except for a few situations, most of it was just being procedurally generated as you would play. And, Skyrim is definitely placed, but there are some things. Morrowind, everything you can tell is so meticulously put everywhere. That happens a lot in Skyrim, but there is definitely an ability for that random element, or not random element, but the procedurally generated element of, like, I cleared out this bandit camp and it has to repopulate after a set period of time by a new set of bandits will come in. And it's like, yeah, you get your cleared marker. In Morrowind, they don't come back. They're dead. Like, it is a set population. You can technically nuke all of Morrowind eventually, except for guards the guards come back because they're supposed to keep trying to arrest you. But other than that, it's like you can just clear out swaths of the planet. Whereas later games you can, but they will eventually repopulate. So the idea is the Radiant questing, and so that you have something to do. Originally, that wasn't so much the goal of the series. It was just like, yeah, here's a thing, and you can play through the thing. So I hear that.
I feel like they... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to mention how the guards come after you. Yeah, and that becomes impossible to evade if you're playing Mournhold.
Yeah, it does, because you're stuck in the confines of the walls of Mournhold, so you have a lot less room to work with. What were you going to say, Britt?
I think that The two things that so I second the soundtrack in Oblivion. I love that soundtrack.
Yep.
I also, something about Oblivion that I loved is that because it was centrally located in Cyrodiil, then you could literally walk everywhere without a load screen and change like the actual climate or setting that you were in. And Skyrim was kind of all the same. It was all like barren white north. And
varying degrees of snow. Yeah.
Yeah. And in ESO, you can definitely change your climates, but you have to go through a load screen. It almost feels like a different game, or like a game within a game.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty cool. That would be cool to bring back. And then I think too, like, you can do this with Skyrim and Oblivion, and it's different because it's an MMO. But I wish that you could make ESO like hard to play on single player.
That's actually a pretty common request, so to speak, from people who have been playing for years and years. New players, you won't hear that too much, but very quickly as people play, the idea is to onboard so that it's like, okay, you've got your open world, things are accessible, you can do things. And once you start getting a feel for the game, the overall difficulty of overworld Cyrodiil, or actually not so much Cyrodiil because, well, any of it, overworld Tamriel, because just include all of it, doesn't matter which zone, honestly, DLC or not. With the exception of some of the world bosses in some of the expansion areas, which are more challenging than base game, but even still, most things can be soloed or completed with small groups with minimal effort. And then the difficulty starts coming from your quote unquote end game activities, your vet dungeons, your vet trials, your PvP, stuff like that. But like, we've actually joked about it on Tales of Tamriel quite a few times that Arc actually has a few issues. As much as we love the story to the game and the writing, it's hard to take some of the big bad threats seriously when they can barely finish their dialogue before you've obliterated them. So it's like, yes, tell me what a great necromancer you are as I'm already collecting your loot. It's like that kind of kills some of the vibe on occasion. So I do understand what you mean.
or like, I get it's an MMO, so you want a lot of people to play. But like when I'm literally like running past a world boss or like an inline character in a quest, and there's like literally 40 people that I've seen just kill him, and I'm like, well, this seems like it breaks lore a little bit.
It does. There's definitely some conceits that you need to make because it is an MMO, like you said. One of my favorite theories, and it's one of the ones I've always said. Generally, I just go on like, people argue over like, oh, well, in this forum, Michael Kirkbride said this. And I'm like, look, it's whatever, man. Like if it's in the game, it's in the game. I don't care. Like it's fine. I'm not too. I love the fact that Lawrence Schick, the previous lore master, and Lehman Tuttle, the current lore master, they both say that, the idea is that this is ambiguous on purpose so that you can here are the pieces you piece together the story. It's hard to find an absolute truth. I like that. One of my favorite twists to that is during the interregnum, which is when Elder Scrolls Online takes place. Originally there was a lot of this time period was just devoid of information. Books were burned with the Imperial Library. Like we lost all this stuff. Those events are literally happening in the game currently. One of the things that I always love is because things were so dicey around then, we have this weird appearance of dragons that came with elsewhere, is Dragon Breaks are your kind of fallback MacGuffin for the series, and they've pieced together some of the like, okay, why are there 7 endings in Daggerfall, and they all somehow make sense. It's like, well, it's a Dragon Break, boom, done. I always loved the concept of this game is most likely part of a Dragon Break. And each one of our heroes is just one of the threads of time. So it's how we all are simultaneously doing the same thing. We're all happening at the same time. But if you died at this boss, well, that was that person's thread. That's not your thread of time. And in the end, when everything completes, we're currently 18 million confirmed players or whatever in Elder Scrolls Online. That's all 18 million of those timelines kind of mushing together to give us what we get later down in the series. I personally just thought that was like a cool idea to like, how do you have a multiplayer game where everybody's doing the same thing essentially to save the world the same way, but doing it in totally different fashions? So that's been always the theory that I kind of just like go with.
Yeah, it is cool to think about. But yeah, I do wish that they're like, because when I really want to get like an immersion experience and like survival, and I'll load up Skyrim with like the Frostfall mods, and it's like I have to camp, and if I am in the snow too long, I freeze to death. Like, it's a difficult experience.
Yeah.
And you just do not get that with ESO. I'm like,
I'm a very different beast.
I'm like trying to actually pull like 50, because I'm a tank, and I have kind of a sustain build because I do a lot of soloing. So I literally will just try and pull like 50 people plus a boss and let them all attack me, because it actually makes them all die faster, which is just absurd.
Yes, it absolutely is.
I also play the Frostfall mod, and you can ask like any of my friends or my girlfriend, and my girlfriend's like, why do you like this? Like, it looks like pain and suffering. Why do you like survival games? But that's part of what makes it fun. Once you've already done everything there is to do in the game, you're like, well, now I want to play on insane difficulty.
Yeah, it's that extra level of tension that keeps you kind of paying attention to what you're doing. Otherwise, it's autopilot because you've done it so many times.
Maybe I'm alone in this, but I want the food to mean something. I want the food and the dishes that I can cook and like the raw beef that I see everywhere. I want that to matter. So why is it taking up space in my inventory? Oh, because I actually need to eat. Or I think Fallout 4 had a survival mode where the only way you could save was by sleeping. So
yes, that's a feature that I miss. Sleeping to level up. Not so much sleeping to save. Sleeping to save comes with other issues like I have to go. Oh, I can't save my game. That's problematic. But one of the things that I do miss, and I didn't realize I missed it until the episode, I don't know, one of the previous episodes we did where we were talking about, changes from one game to another. I miss sleeping to level up. I actually like that. It's actually kind of a neat feature that I kind of wish they would bring back.
And
messages.
What's up?
So, so the Dragonborn, right? He can drink like his entire inventory of wine and meat and whatever. Then he goes and gets drunk with a Daedric prince.
Yes, and wakes up married to a goat.
Yeah, so like, one thing I liked about Witcher 3 is that when you drink the alcohol, your screen will get all messed up.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
That's actually... I'm curious if whenever, I don't know, we'll give it 20 years, we'll get Elder Scrolls 6, if there's going to be more of that realistic aspect that they will add to it.
I'm hoping that Elder Scrolls 6, they bring back the dwarves, personally.
Oh, actually have Dwemer. That
like halfway through the game, all of the Dwemer just reappear.
It's so fun. And the only thing... I mean, we've got the one living Dwemer that we bump into in Morrowind. Living, quote unquote, as it's fine. We'll just call him living. He's mostly alive. He's, and then it's just like remnants of what we used to be able to see. Hallucinations or memories and stuff like that. And since they're called dwarves, but they're not like short necessarily, they were just shorter than giants. So they get the whole thing. It would be interesting just to think about if we got Dwemer back, and if they didn't overtly tell you that they were Dwemer? Would we know that they were Dwemer?
Well, so my idea that I've been thinking about just recently, right? So like they have ESO, which has like all of Tamriel, which they might be able to fit into one game for Elder Scrolls 6.
Mm-hmm.
So like one Tamriel as one game.
Just like the whole thing, kind of like in the Daggerfall vein of like, here's the whole map.
The whole map. All of Tamriel, all the countries, the whatever. They're not really countries, but you know.
Yeah, provinces.
I mean, like halfway through the game, like suddenly all of the Dwemer ruins have people living in them now. Just there.
I'm very curious if they ever address the Dwemer directly again, because I feel like it's such a topic where everybody wants to know what happened, but at the same time, what happens when that mystery is gone? Because that's the only reason why I'm here. Standing.
I started listening to the podcast because I wanted to know what happened to the Dwemer specifically, and I want to know more about the whole series. And then I learned about Aramithius from Tom, and his first episode is what happened to the Dwemer. It's like no one really knows. I'm like,
Yep. It's if we can ever get Todd Howard to spill his guts, he has said a couple times in interviews that he does know what happened to the Dwemer. It is written down, and he's just not saying. I'm like,
he's the only one who actually knows.
Yep. So
there's a question.
Yeah.
Murkmire and ESO. I think it's the main quest of Murkmire towards the end. And you have to find all the yellow stones. What are they called? I don't remember.
I know what it's the fire rock things. I know what you're talking about, but I forget what they're called. The item when you throw it, the plant like pulls you to it. Is that what you're talking about?
No, not that one.
Oh, you're talking about
they're like yellow,
the Varla stone things.
They're like Varla stones, but they're not. And
right.
When you go through that,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, when you go through that, you meet two Aelid elves, and the two Aelid elves are talking about like the essence of magic and like the hist and things, and they allude to a few things. They allude to the Dwemer, I think, and talking about like the Dwemer's pursuit of like magic and knowledge and how it led to like their existence or like their exit of the world or something. And it was just a small allusion to it, but I was like, this is fat. It was just like tucked in Murkmire, which gets no good reputation for no reason, but
such an underrated expansion.
So good
Such an underrated expansion. That's actually, they give you just little bits so that that they know about it, but they're just not saying. What do you call it? Siberia. Do you get anything you want to close out with us as we're getting pretty close to the end? Tom can use his editing magic to clean all this up for us afterwards and edit things down. But yeah, why don't you close us out? Any other thoughts?
Well, one thing that I would think would improve Skyrim would be to have the faction system from Morrowind.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah,
I would love, because the Civil War was pretty superficial. Whereas it at least didn't let you join both. But to your point, like Morrowind, it's like if you joined House Delvani, House Redoran wasn't talking to you, like that. None of that. Like same thing with a lot. So like making your choice and having it stand like that, I think would be awesome because it gives your choices weight, even if it's not huge story weight. It's just cutting off something else you could do. That would carry a lot of weight to it.
Yeah, and also that you need to be proficient in the skills that the faction requires. For example, in Skyrim, you can complete the entire College of Winter without casting a single spell.
Yes. You just have that one thing on the bridge where like, look, I can make sparks. Okay, well, I'm your new headmaster.
You also need to do it when you first get into the classroom. You have to cast the warding spell.
You've got the one they give you the ability to learn warding, and then it's like, look, I can make a shield. It's like, you did it. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
and
think
you can't do the Fighters Guild and Thieves Guild. I think it is in Morrowind.
Yeah,
I think it's
Morrowind.
Fighters Guild and
Is that what it was? I know you had limitation with the Morag Tong, didn't you, as well? I think there was something. Didn't somebody not want to work with you if you were a Morag Tong assassin?
Some of the final writs of assassination in the Morag Tong are the headmasters. Spoiler alert!
That's what it was.
20-year-old spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Are the headmasters of the Fighters Guild and Thieves Guild.
That's what I was thinking of. I was like, I feel like you needed to do something that made somebody very unhappy. That's what it was. Okay, yeah.
I remember from the quest in the Fighters Guild where you have to kill all the different Thieves Guild leaders. But when I killed, what was his name? The head of the Thieves Guild in Vivek. Gentleman Jim Stacy, wasn't it?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. I remember doing that quest, and then when looting, I was like, "What is this item?" And it was just the skeleton key, and I was like, "Whoa, wait! I just have this now and can use it however I want. That's neat."
That's a really good point, because to both of those, like, I like the idea of the conflict thing. That sounds really cool, and I don't get too hung up on like weird inconsistencies because they are games. But one thing that does kind of like seem oddly out of place, to your point, is like sometimes like you will be able to garner a lot of attention in a guild. You get promoted, you're all ranked up, and it's like getting promoted in the Mages Guild in Oblivion is work. Like you had to get approval from each of the different the different sections for like in the different towns, and it's like, oh, I need you to run me these fetch quests because you don't matter in this guild. Like you know, I'm not going to just vouch for you, and I don't even know if you can make a potion yet. And yeah, exactly to your point. It's like you walk up to the College of Winterhold, you do something on the bridge, and I actually even forgot about the warding spell. It's like, okay, boom, you get. In the end, it's like, yeah, you're leading that whole section, and you kind of worked for some of your old ones back in the day. The Thieves Guild in Skyrim, you basically trip over them. For them being thieves, they really like are. I always used to joke that they're not so much the Thieves Guild in Riften, they're the Thugs Guild, because it was pickpocket this, or, you know, you need to get this money back from this person. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go in and steal it. Yeah, or just mess up their shop. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not exactly, I mean, I'm not a sneak thief, but I was like, I go in, grab the guy's, you know, potted plant and throw it against the wall. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not exactly thieving very much. I'm just shaking this dude down. I feel like the mafia more than anything else in this game. So that's very interesting. Yeah, I definitely hope they actually focus on that too. Now that you say it,
there's not an element of like you can fail. You just continue to try and try again, even if it requires brute force. And it would be nice to see like quest failed. I just can't do it anymore.
Yes. That is, yes, there are not a lot of failure states in the new games, which to an extent I do like, but when the game saves consistently, it doesn't bother me too much, because then it's like, it's fine, whatever. But like the fact in Morrowind, it's just like, I'm going to rob and murder this person. Okay, well, that person can't give you this quest line that you needed to progress. It's a little obvious when you try to club somebody in one of the newer games, and it's like, so-and-so is unconscious. It's like, well, you're important. I'll need to just drag you over to this building and I'll come back to you later. It's like, that's a very different situation than in Morrowind. I guess we're pretty close to the end. Any final thoughts from anybody, or are we good? I'll just message Tom in the background while we do this, since he has supreme power of his own channel, I hope. Otherwise, things are going to get dicey while I try to figure it out, and nobody wants that. So, yeah, any final thoughts from anybody? This has been great. I enjoyed this.
I've heard that a lot of people want to get like the Skyrim sort of textures on like the older games.
Oh yes,
and there's like mod packs for that or whatever, but just to make it feel better, look at something nicer than those older textures.
Yeah, we've got, well, what is it? There's the Skywind and Skyblivion mini project mod things that, if you've ever seen anything on them, are exactly what you're talking about, is like upgrading like the textures and everything like that into the Skyrim engine. And they are truly a labor of love because they look amazing, but they're done entirely by like volunteer work and stuff from like the community. Because obviously it's not like a sanctioned product from Bethesda. And although Bethesda, I do know, has, if I remember correctly, they even provided them source code because they were so impressed with it. So they were trying to like help their project along if they wanted it. And yeah, just from, I mean, they're still a long ways off, but good Lord, they look beautiful.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on that a little bit and just issue an enormous thank you to Bethesda for being the coolest company out there that embraces the modding community. Yes. As far as I know, they are the most supportive big studio of modding, and they always have been.
They have, and so their controversy is a little weird because sometimes they've charged for stuff, and they're, I mean, surprised they're still a company, so they don't want to not make money. But yeah, any interaction I've had with them, they've been nothing but nice to me personally. I honestly, once all this like madness of the world health being back to normal so that we can, you know, actually have events and stuff again, I'm hoping that they continue with some of the big events that they had been doing for the previous years. I mean, there's QuakeCon, which is fun and stuff like that, but just their presence at other events with, you know, a lot of it's Elder Scrolls Online related, just because the community there is all over the place. But like their appearance at PAX East and all these things, Gamescom, it really always strikes me, and it's not just Elder Scrolls, although, you know, this is an Elder. They've done it with Fallout, they do it with Doom. I've been to a decent amount of these, and they're just, it seems like the staff is having as much fun as the people there, which is, I don't have a large, because, you know, I don't work in the industry. This is just a hobby. But like, that is not something I tend to see from a lot of other things, where it's just like, I know people on staff want to specifically, like, they'll sign up so they can travel to one of these events. It's like that. How often is a work thing like, oh, you've got a work trip, and people are arguing over who gets to go, not why do I have to go? So it's like I don't know. Very much in that vein, Bethesda seems like a pretty unique company, at least from somebody who doesn't work there. Just even on the simple fact of the video game industry and all of that is very fluid. You a lot of times see people, well, I was at this company, and then I went to this company, and then I was at this project, and I was at this project. And if you ever look at some of the staff pictures from Bethesda, some of the same people who were there originally, Pete Hines, Todd Howard, stuff, they're still there after 20 plus years. Even some of the staff that I am, you know, in contact with at ZeniMax Online, the creative director, Rich Lambert, one of his first projects was Oblivion. That's his baby. And he's now the creative, I believe his official title is creative director of Elder Scrolls Online. That is a big gap in time that he is still working there. And surprise, surprise, the newest season in Elder Scrolls Online is the Gates of Oblivion, where he gets to basically give a nod back to the region that he was a part of back with Elder Scrolls 4. That's crazy to think about in this industry, because everybody is so transient, whether or not they want to be, just because new opportunities show up. Obviously, people aren't exactly clamoring to leave Bethesda too often. So that, at least from a I don't know, consumer standpoint, makes me kind of happy. Like, okay, well, at least I'm supporting a company that people seem to like working there. So that doesn't make me feel like crap, like some other companies that I actually don't buy their games because I'm like, oh, you're so awful to your employees. I feel bad if I buy this. Like,
I do have something I want to say to Tom, but I don't know if he's listening right now.
I was going to say I pinged him, but I mean, he'll have to edit this anyway, so he will.
He'll have to edit anyway. So
exactly.
When he was talking about the leaders of the factions in ESO,
yes,
he was talking about the Scald King.
Oh, Urine, yes.
And how was it Urine who had the shout that would summon a hero from?
Yes, in the coding to the thing.
Like,
yes, I believe so.
Tom was talking, and he didn't think that was a shout in Skyrim. And I wasn't a patron at the time, so I did email him, but I don't think he ever saw it. But there is the Call of Valor shout in Skyrim that you can summon three.
I remember this now.
You can summon 3 different heroes from Sovngarde.
Now that you're saying that, I feel like I remember this.
Yeah, so you can. So it's the 3 that you fight, that you defeat Alduin with. You can summon each one of those depending on how long you do the shout.
Yep, I actually just looked it up. This is exactly what I was thinking of. Yep, I actually do remember this now. Thank you, everybody who's hung out with us. This has been a great episode. I appreciate all of you guys joining me for this in lieu of Tom being here. Why don't we go through some goodbye plugs? Why don't we start with you, Kangaroo?
Sure. So, as we mentioned earlier, we are still doing the Mass Effect Lorecast on Sundays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, and that is following the Cyberpunk Lorecast. Would love it if some of you guys stopped by. Mass Effect, if you haven't tried it, is a great game. I'm the biggest fan of it. So if you'd like to see what Mass Effect is about, I'm going to be streaming that tomorrow. I had to cancel a stream earlier this week because of looking for a new job, but I am going to be streaming that tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central. That's 7 p.m. Eastern. And I'd love it if you stopped by. Just give me a little, dropped a little line in chat. I'd love to see you guys. My Xbox is KF Space Kangaroo, and you can just follow me on Twitch here.
All right, and why don't we go with Sea Chaser? Got anything of interest before we go that you'd like to shout out?
Can I shout out an app that I have no part in creating I've been following the creator on it for a while now, and he
if it's something you support, why not? You can use that as your own plug, even if you didn't do it, if that's what you want.
I am a massive car guy, and I've been following this guy. He created like a dating app for car people for racing. So it's called Boost Flow, and if you're a car person, you can just go download it, go support him. But
there you go. That works. I was gonna say it's your segment part, so go for it.
So should also come up and visit Alaska sometime once we're all free. I would recommend it. It's very nice out. Not right now, but like summertime. Come visit me. So see y'all next month, I guess. Oh, yeah. My birthday's next Wednesday. I'm turning 20.
Oh, well, happy early birthday, since we won't be live then and we are live now. So happy early birthday.
Yeah, so that's big 20 for me.
Yup. Brib's mic crapped out. So Siberia, anything you want to shout out for yourself?
Well, not really. Just one thing I would like to tell the listeners is to, if you haven't tried playing the older games, I definitely suggest doing that.
I second that totally. Absolutely. It's they can be rough, but if it's something you're interested in, they can still be fun. And as long as you don't go maybe like slowly go back, like kind of your approach. You went back a game. You went back one more game. That's probably a better way to do it than jumping like, oh, I like Skyrim. I'll play Arena. Maybe too much of a jump. Maybe scale it back a little at a time.
Yeah. Going back one game at a time is definitely the best approach.
Mm-hmm. But all right. Well, I definitely second that. And yeah, like I said, Brib can't get his mic going. So as for me, I'm Lotus of Doom on Twitter, Twitch, Discord, I guess, even though I don't check that as much as I probably should. I've been streaming the old Elder Scrolls games in no particular order, and people do seem to enjoy, if they have an interest in them, especially the much older games that are not quite as easy to run. So if you are interested in them, and even if you want to try them yourself and are curious how they work, you're more than welcome to swing by Lotus of Doom on Twitch. I wish I could give you a better schedule, but it's kind of when I'm not at work or doing something else. So that's the best I can do. But on that note, they are definitely worth playing. So if you want to get a baseline to them, you're more than welcome to swing by with us and check it out, and then maybe try them out for yourselves. Otherwise, you can check out the other podcasts that I'm part of, Tales of Tamriel, over at Dungeon Crawler Network. And I think that's pretty much the gist of us. And I think Tom is back so he can power us down and have fun editing this last little bit. We gave you some work, Tom. So bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. If you have something you'd like to contribute to the show, please reach out to us at elderscrollslorecast@gmail.com or on Twitter @ESO Lorecast. I really appreciate you listening, and I'd love to hear from you soon.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
Hey Guardians, we are the Destiny Show Podcast, a weekly podcast about all things Destiny 2. We invite amazing guests from the Destiny community to share their stories and discuss the latest topics from the world of Destiny. Check us out on Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, or live on Twitch every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We will see you Starside.
Are you an avid player of the Elder Scrolls Online and looking to take your game to that next level? Well, the Red Diamond Courier podcast is here to help. I'm Bob Chichinski.
And I'm Dogbark24.
We are two experienced players aiming to help others learn and improve through in-game knowledge and references.
From PvE
to PvP
and everything in between.
There's sure to be something for you in the Red Diamond Courier.
We hope you check us out. Thanks.
Once upon a time, 27 years after the bombs fell, there were two people, a vault dweller and a California girl. They met and sparks flew. That's when things got interesting. Once Upon a Wasteland is their story. Follow Elizabeth Kirby and Odessa Valdez as they pursue their happily ever after in the post-apocalyptic Appalachian wasteland of Fallout 76. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and many other podcasting platforms. Once Upon a Wasteland, a Fallout 76 love story. Available now.